Thank you, Mr. President. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Many thanks for your presence, and my warmest thanks to the organizers of this conference, Olivier Galli and John Mary Fausting, with the English accent. Okay, I'm going to talk about co-building legal diversity with a special focus on New Caledonian province, Loyalty Islands, and its environmental code. The interest of such a work in the context of this conference is a comprehensive one. Behind legal systems, there are cultures and there are people. Each legal system is a specific storytelling about the society it regulates. Sometimes it implies legal crossbreeding, a mix between cultures. And we have to take into account this aspect. So, first of all, I'm going to talk about background elements, then cross-breeding attempts in the code, and finally, my third part will talk about the resistance from the French judge to these attempts. But, oh, il est parti. Ah, il est là. Sorry. Because it's your time. Okay, before beginning, let me ask you your opinion. So, with a small test, please take your phone. And, okay, yes, please join the event. Okay, this event. This is a short test. Just three questions. Okay, 7 people. 8, 9. No. It's very easy to use it. You can try. Yes, it's good. I think we can start and everybody can join us after that. Okay. It's supposed to work. Ça veut pas? Oh, this is normal because it's not started yet, and I think we have. Okay, you can go. Okay, so first question, please define environment for you, just with small words. Ok. Faut pas toucher à quoi que ce soit. Oui, parce qu'en fait, le code... Si. Ouais. Okay. Thank you very much. Culture. Yes, hello. But nobody... It's okay. That's interesting. We have culture, nature écosystème, okay. Natural surroundings, biodiversity, neighbor, nature and cultural context, life, okay, flora. Oh, I can see natural nature This is very interesting. People and nature, because after that, we have another question about nature. Okay. Okay, we have main about culture. Thank you very much. Fauna, life, biodiversity, people and nature. Okay, can we go to the other one, please? Next question. So now please define nature. Flora, fauna, okay. Does not exist. Okay. Fauna, flora, biodiversity, environment, yes. Does not exist. Cultures, thank you very much. Life. You can participate. Yeah, oui, vous pouvez. What is not human made? Okay. Interesting. Okay. So, as you can see, we have the same type of answers between environment and nature. It's not so easy to make the difference. Okay, thank you very much. And then the last question, please. Okay, please give one word representing law for you. Law. 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 Yeah, sorry. Yes, law. Okay, rule, rights, order. This is faster, right? Faster than environment and nature. Law is law. Okay, thank you very much. Rule, order, social norms. Okay, justice, sanctions, martial law. Okay. No one is above the law. Mm. Yeah. Oh, the state, social norms. Okay. Thank you very much for your participation. It's going to be useful for what's following. On peut revenir sur la présentation. Okay. Okay, so as you can see, there are a lot of different meanings about these concepts. Even institutions are quite sometimes confused about it, about the difference between environment and nature, and also about what is law, what is a legal rule. And it is all the most true in multicultural societies, such as in Nouvelle-Calédonie, where different visions live together. It is called ontology, and it is the same about law. We have different visions about what is law. Okay. First, in environment protection, there are specific settings. 3 main settings: legal ontology, ecological ontology, and scientific ontology. Sorry, and lapsus. And I'm not going to talk about scientific ontology. I'm sorry, I don't have enough time about it. But about legal ontology, there are different legal systems in the world. Each system implies... Bon, c'est pas grave. Yes, okay, merci. Okay. There are different systems, legal systems in the world. Each system implies a specific vision about the role of law to regulate society. For example, in this room, we have representatives of common law system, such as Australian people, yes, and people from Fiji as well, I think so. But also we have representatives of the civil law system, such as in New-Caledonia. Okay, so different legal systems in the world, and about ecological. Oh, it's too soon. Ecological ontology. There are different relationships to nature elements in the world. In New Caledonia, we have a Western approach living with the traditional Kanak approach, and they try to live together. Okay, about ontology in New Caledonia. There is, first of all, the Western approach. Western societies adopt a naturalist ontology, and according to the Genesis and to these guys, I don't know whether you recognize them or not. This is on the left-hand side, this is Bacon, and on the right side, this is, yes, Descartes. Okay. Human beings saw themselves as separate from the rest of nature. There is a gap between human and nature. And this is what has been a basis for a utilitarian approach adopted in European laws, French law included. Okay, so this approach with a gap between human and non-human in nature. This is the naturalistic ontology. According to Kanak system, there is an animist ontology. That is to say that souls of a human, of a plant, of an animal are similar. But physicalities are different. So the relations between humans and non-humans are above all person-to-person relationships maintained and consolidated over the course of each and everyone's existence. These ontology have a direct impact on the structure and on the substance of legal systems. Okay, there have been crossbreeding attempts in the environmental code of Loyalty Islands, just as background elements about the political and legal system in New Caledonia. In New Caledonia, you have the New Caledonian government, but you have also 3 provinces. And in these provinces, you have Loyalty Islands province, over there in blue. And province in New Caledonia have the power to make legislation about environment protection. According to this power, the Loyalty Islands province, adopted its environmental code and added an article in 2023 that confers legal personality to turtles and sharks. Okay, this is the Article 110 and 3 that states that the unitary principle of life, which means that human beings belong to the natural environment that surrounds him, and that he sees his identity in the natural environment is the founding principle of Kanak society. In order to take account of this conception of life, certain elements of nature may be granted a legal personality with rights of their own. In substance, this is an animist that comes from an animist approach, which is different from the French approach. And you can see problems coming. Because there is a mix in this code between animist approach, Kanak approach, and the Western approach with the other article, Article 4, which states that the mission of the Province of Loyalty Islands is to preserve the environment and in particular the spaces, landscape and resources. Natural elements are seen as resources in the naturalist approach adopted in the French vision. So in this code, there is a mix between these approach. So there is a mix by codification by itself, because it is a code and the code is a Western approach in law, in legal system. But there is this mix in substance in the code, because two traditions living together. They tried to make this mix because there have been, thank you, resistance from the French judge last May in 2024 about this article of the code. The French judge, this is the Conseil d'État, rejected this new article. Okay, officially it was because of division of powers. It was a problem of division of powers between New Caledonia and province. But when you read the conclusions of the public rapporteur public, you can see that there are some difficulties. The public rapporteur say that, quote, this is a conceptual advance, but there is a problem with the method. The method relies on the civil competence, the civil power, and the civil power is a Caledonian government competence power. And my hypothesis is, okay, perhaps it's a question about the allocation of power, but there is also something. There is a resistance from the judge to this legal crossbreeding, to this mix of legal cultures, to this mix of cultures, of ontologies. So, what can we say as a conclusion? Okay, is this code, is it an example of successful legal crossbreeding? Actually, yes and no. Yes, because it's an example of an attempt of legal crossbreeding, and there are other attempts of legal crossbreeding in this code. But obviously, it is not fully successful because of the resistance from the French judge. And is it a way of co-building legal systems? Yes, it is. It is a mix between naturalist and animist ontologies, and it is a good example of co-built legal approach that we have to take into account. And this example shows that law is a key. Law is the key. You can try to do whatever you want about innovative solutions, about technical solutions, but if you don't have legislator or the judge that follows you, it won't work. Okay, so you need to hire more lawyers as well, of course. And so it is. Why is it important? Because it is a key of an effective and efficient protection of the environment. So, thank you very much.
Interesting talk, very refreshing, very strange, maybe for some of you, because if you are no, if you are not pop up, as we say, no, yeah, if you are not, yeah, you see familiar, yeah, you see law is always it's just a forest. You hesitate to enter in the forest because it's so strange, but it's important. It's strange, but everybody needs to understand the law, and it is the main problem. So, have you questions? Lots of questions, I assume. Ah, la, 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 la. Ah, Frank. Ah, it's an animist view. If Frank doesn't exist, the stars should create Frank.
Thank you very much. It's more a comment than a question. I think it's important to remember that the naturalistic view of nature can be traced directly to the Judeo-Christian tradition of looking at, man or the environment. The thing about, I was a bit surprised when you mentioned the French judge without naming names. Is it a judge? Is it a person that we're talking about? Or is it a title? Judge? Okay, so there's a high judge in Conseil d'État. Oh, okay, it's a body. It's not a person.
No, it's not a person, because in France we don't name the judges.
Oh, okay. Okay, so I guess I was a bit surprised because, well, first of all, you mentioned the rights about sharks and turtles. What about birds and bees?
Oh, I don't know. We have to ask to Loyalty Islands province.
But they identify sharks and turtles.
I know. Yeah,
but what about other animals? And
this is because I have the answer. Sorry, it's because they are totemic animals in the Kanak culture.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Yes.
So I guess my last comment was I don't know much about environmental law, but as an archaeologist, I remember I worked 3 years in the Marshall Islands, and although we adopted the U.S. National Historic Preservation Act of 1966, at least in the Marshall Islands, there was an attempt to incorporate Marshallese values of what constitutes a culturally significant site. Now, we're a far cry from turtles and sharks here, but I was a bit surprised that the judge, the Conseil d'État, seemed to be vehemently opposed to this crossbreeding of different things, which I think is a wonderful thing, when in fact, if you look at historic preservation, about historic buildings and archaeological site, that in some places, I don't know much about New Caledonia, perhaps my colleagues from Fiji can explain about Fiji, but I was a bit surprised. I mean, why is this a reluctance? Is it because the judge, the Conseil d'État, looks at those resources as resources to be extracted? If that's the rationale, I would say, yeah, it's a rationale, but it's not really rational. So more a comment than a question. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I answer?
Yeah,
yes.
Sure,
okay.
Sure.
I'm going to give a lawyer answer, but yes, it's a legal question because we have the civil code, the French civil code, and in this code we have two categories of people. No, two categories, legal categories: things and people. And you just have this. And animals are part of things. Yeah. And can I just finish my sentence? And after that, okay. And I think the main, yes, it's not, I think, it's the main problem in here is that this article of the Loyalty Islands Code implied to create a new legal category of person. That's the reason why it's a civil matter and not an environmental protection matter.
Far from defending the Conseil d'État or condemning it, I don't know who I'm quoting, but somebody once said to me that, well, animals do not have rights because they don't have responsibilities. I don't know who said that. Is that, yeah, it's a very anthropocentric view of life about who has rights. And, obviously it offends people who are against animal brutality and so forth. But I think again, it's syllogisme. It's rational, is that, well, you don't have any rights because you're a dog, you're a mouse, you're an octopus, because you don't have any responsibilities. Again, that is very anthropocentric. But from an anthropocentric point of view, no pun intended, it makes sense. You can have something that makes sense internally, a syllogism in English, but nevertheless is outrageous to people who says, well, animals should be respected even though they don't have any responsibilities. So I think it's interesting when you say you have rights, but you only have rights if you also have responsibilities. Yes. I don't want to diverge from the topic here, but this is just what occurred to me a second ago. Thank you.
Thank you.
Other question? Jonas.
Hello, thank you for your presentation. Just one question. Do you know if the royalty province want to contest the decision of the French state in any way?
Yes, I heard that they are trying to write a project of law on a Caledonian basis. So they said, okay, it's an issue about allocation of powers. Okay, we're going to try to adopt a new legislation about it in New Caledonia. So they are trying to write it right now. Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Jean, the voice of Polynesia now.
Thank you. Thank you very much for the talk. I guess one question and one joke afterwards. The question, I'm forgetting. No, more of a comment. It's interesting that the code, insisting on trying to bridge the gap between nature and culture, has to resort to the name nature, right, in the code. The term nature is there. So what vocabulary do we use? Because the idea is to show that this divide between culture and nature does not exist in Kanak philosophy, but in the end, the term nature is there in the code.
Yeah, and they use, oh, sorry.
No, then there was the joke.
Okay. They use the term, which is very interesting, natural elements. Yes, elements of nature. And they use as well the environment. Où est-ce qu'il est le...
Juste en...
Okay, thank you. Here. Yes, the environment here and nature, elements of nature here. What is very interesting is that it's a clue of a mixed system. For me.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Because we have here in the part about the environment, they talk about spaces, landscape, and resources. And in the article about elements of nature, we have like the way to confer rights to nature. So I feel like this is here an animist the Kanak traditional point of view, and over here, the Western point of view. It has been the redaction of the writing of this code has been in a participative way, as you know it, and so everybody participated to, and even representatives of local communities, which is another very interesting part of this code, because in the process to write it and to adopt it, it's clearly an example of mix of different traditions.
Okay,
And the joke?
thank you. It's not actually a joke, but I think where Discola is a bit, I think, wrong with the animist, the naturalist part. It's true for I guess, the elite of the Western societies, but rural societies in Europe are not that naturalist at all. And in medieval times, animals would be judged, and way back in the Old Testament also. And so animals did have responsibilities.
Historically,
I don't know if they had rights though, but that was an interesting sort of thinking the elite, urban elite of Europe and rural life in Europe that was probably not that naturalist.
Yes.
Question.
Thank you very much for your wonderful presentation. I'm asking a question because I don't understand. To be honest, you mentioned about there are three very big terminologies that you use. One is legal ontology, environmental ontology, and as well as scientific ontology. I'm coming from the background of science. What is scientific ontology?
Yes. Thank you for your question. It's about the relationship to science, and let me give you a concrete example. There have been these experimentation in Japan and in United States. I don't exactly remember the field, but they did the same experimentation, and results were supposed to be the same, and they have been the same, but interpretations have been different. About nanotechnology. About nanotechnology, we try to regulate the sector in Europe, and in Japan or in Singapore, they don't even think about it. It's a cultural reason. Is it better to... Yes.
Thank you.
I think, drawing from an anthropological example, I think you're talking about scientific ontology, which may be a far cry from agriculture, but anyway. Scientific ontology, the way I look at it, is like you look at proximate causation. Whereas ontology, which is not scientific, would be addressing questions about ultimate causation. A good example would be from an anthropologist in Africa, when a woman walks under a tree and a fruit or the branch falls and kills or injures the woman. The locals would say it's a bad spirit. And the anthropologist explains, well, no, it's a rotten piece of wood. I guess they're both right, because one explains it proximately from a scientific ontological perspective, and the locals are saying it's a malevolent spirit because the woman did something wrong before. It's hard to determine who is right and who is wrong. So the way I looked at it, the way you ask about scientific ontology, I think it has more to do with the proximate causation, the ultimate truth, the ultimate regress. And I think that's the big question about faith. I mean, you can never really prove there is a higher being or not. It's a question of level. So I just want to add to my distinguished colleague's comment. Thank you. Sorry about that.
Thank you. Question? Maybe we could move to the just one comment. You see, because about the process of decolonization, people told me every time New Caledonia is a place for low innovation compared to other French territories. But we see with these examples that innovations should be, you see, in the framework. It's not of the legal ontology of civil code, because it's you have the right to be innovative, but not too much, because you need to be in agreement with the fundamentals of the civil law, civil code civil. Yeah. So, but it's not the reason. Try to No, but you see the legal personality. It's very interesting. But we have discussions that in UCN too. Because imagine that we say that the sharks have the right to put people on the court. What's happened if you have good lawyers who prove that who say that you don't win? And it's the reason why in UCN we refuse that. We say the day we will not be winner in the court, it will be harmful for the nature. Because it means that, I don't know, factories or I don't know, could beat nature. Imagine, because you have very, very interesting, very, comment on dirait, powerful lawyers, US lawyers, who are very talented, and they could give you the defeat on the court. So it's good to put a personality, but everybody say, you dream that at every time you will win on the court. But you see, the court, it's not only, it's also a game, and you are not sure to win. It's okay. So thanks a lot.